Hi, after many hours of dripping paint off, I finally did it. But problem I'm having, I don't know if the rings. They're like here you can see the top ring gap is a little, should be about 3 thou per inch, 3 to 4 thou per inch. Well, this is about 20 thou. I don't know. And that bottom, I don't know if you guys can pick it up, but the bottom ring down there, it's about 50 thou per inch of a gap in it, which is way too much. I think with this engine, I'd be good with 15 thou per gap, for your end gap, somewhere around there. But I'm not too sure what I'm going to do. I know you don't see the piston in this thing, and I did put the piston in, and there's a lot of slop in this. And I did some measurement, and there's a lot of slop. Other than that, the piston actually looks pretty good shape. I believe this engine was stuck once. If I can see a little bit of like where a little heavier rust in the cylinder wall, and usually that's an indication of a seized cylinder. Usually a little bit back right here that looked like it's been stuck for a while. Wasn't too bad seized, but I can get one drawn up on 3D printer, which we did show an episode of that a long time ago, and get one casted. But that's gonna, with the holidays and that, it could push me to about 2 months behind. Then I started thinking, well, this is an enclosed engine, which you can see. You don't see the connecting rod like this engine. You see the connecting rod when it's running. But this is an enclosed engine. So I started thinking, well, why don't I just bore this? Or I just might see if I can hone this out. I don't know. We'll see. I can swing this in my lathe. Or I do have a boring adapter, adapt up and run a boring bar through it. Or do that, clean it up to where I'm happy with, and just make a piston. I do have a hunk of, I think this is dual bar cast, good stuff. And I can probably do that in a half a day, and I got myself a new piston. And the rings are no big deal. I think I've got enough rings around here to make something work, so I can always modify something to make it work, or make a new set of rings. No big deal. So, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see about just honing this out, and then we're going to make new rings, and just machine a new piston up. Okay, I've strapped the Mogul cylinder down, kind of clamped into the vise, and I just put a ratchet strap around it, because there's a lot of torque in it behind when you're honing. And I just ran a honer through it just quickly, and you can see I'm touching up front here, touching a little bit in the middle, and of course touching at the towards the head, because the cylinder, the piston doesn't go that far. So usually I kind of tend to bore these things out, but the cylinder is actually not that bad a shape, so for what I'm doing, it's just going to be fine. So I'll see if I can set up the camera. Okay, I honed for a couple minutes, well, a minute or so, but you can see right where the oil lubrication, I'm not touching there. And also you can see right, I don't know if you can pick it up, but right at the end of the stroke, before the nitro holy, I'm not touching there either. That's just to do the motion of going forward and backward, and that's just to do with the piston slapping. And that's what you indicate the back part too, that's all from over the years of piston slapping. So, I think I'll do some more honing until we get it up to, might be another 15-20 minutes of honing, but get it to within about 1,000, and I'll be happy with that then. Okay, after a while, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes of honing, I finally got it straight as I'm be happy with. I got it within 1,000. I'm happy with that. So I should have recorded this or showed you guys how bad this was before, but I forgot to. But you can see the dial indicator. It's just, well, I'm hitting little bumps too. So, but come over there. She's within 1,000, so that's great. There's good enough for this guy. Okay, I got the piece of cast iron cast in the lathe set up where I'm going to cut it. It's just about right where I want. Still got a little bit to kick off top, but that's just perfect. I got about 7/16 to take off the outside diameter. I'm just doing it rough right now, and then flip it around and then start chewing the inside out. But I'll chew out much as I can inside. I can't do everything, but like I said, it's going inside of that little Mogul, and you don't get really to see the piston, so it doesn't have to look pretty or anything, but I'll take much as weight as I can off if possible, so. Okay, I've turned it down, I faced it, and I left myself about 1/8 of an inch outside diameter just to, I'll clean that up in the last final cut. Now we're going to open this up, just like that, and I'm just going to go right down to where this bolt is, where it's the set screws. That's about 3/4 of an inch in, and then I will replicate this diameter here into here. That will be the same, and then when it comes to the final cut, I can hold the chuck into here to do my final cut, so that way everything's all true. And now I'll go get a drill bit, like I said, in a boring bar, and we'll open that up then. Okay, I'm slowly cutting away at it. I got to go in about 3/4 of an inch, and then can't remember what the inside diameter is, but I'll figure that out. I'm kind of goofed up. I forgot the boring bar sitting in at my brother's place, so I just made this work. You can't kick heavy cuts because it's just holding on by one clamp by one bolt, but it's working. I'm slowly chewing away at it. Alright, it's the next day. I decided to come back to work on this piston again. I'm hoping to pretty much have it done today, hopefully. But this is all just rough. I still got another, an eighth of an inch to come off the outside diameter. And I still want to choose some more out inside here. But what I want to do is put my wrist pin in, or ream that, well, put one in, then I'll ream it out. It's 3/4 of an inch. And when I've done that, then I want to choose some more cast out underneath the wrist pin. I don't know if you can see it, but so I can make the piston light as possible. That's basically all I'm doing. It'll be a little bit heavier than this piston, but not going to affect it that much. And I'll get this set up on my little toy mill, and we'll go from there. I'll get some action shots there. Okay, I got the piston in the vise on my little mill, and what I gotta first do is run the indicator across the piston to make sure it's 0, because you don't want to have a crooked wrist pin. So, I don't know if you guys can see it, but I got it on 0. Move it over here, the other end. Alright, I'm about 10 thou high. So I got a little jack under there. Get my wrench. See if I can do this. Okay, now, to make sure nothing has moved, we'll go back. I'm on 0. I got about 2/1000 of an inch difference. We'll double check that. We'll go back the other way. Yeah, we're about 2,000. I'll see if I can tighten up a little bit more. Call that good. I'll double check it the other way. I don't mind being out a foul. That's not going to hurt it. Now, what I'll do is I'll pull the indicator off, and I'll use my center finder, and I'll register off of the outside vice jaws here, and then divide that in 2, and I'll find my center here, and then we'll take some measurements from this point to the bottom of your wrist pin, and we know this is 3/4 of an inch, so half that will be 375. So we'll figure all the mathematics out, and we'll get it pretty damn close. Okay, after playing around a little bit, trying to get it all centered, I finally got it. Like I said, it's so much easier with a digital readout. So all now I got to do is just touch this end and move wherever my marking is, wherever the measurements on that piston, and then we can start drilling. So what I'll do is I'll just shut the camera up. Hopefully you guys can see something. Okay, we're finally at the last stage where I can ream it out to 3/4. And then I will, hopefully everything goes perfectly. We can just use a 3/4 inch, 4140 3/4 inch shaft. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. So, if not, I'll still make it work. And there we go. And yes, I know I forgot to put my safety glasses on. I usually wear them, but that was just a bad habit there. I forgot. That was my own fault. But I'll take this out, and then I'll go see if I can find some 3/4 inch shaft in here and see how well it fits. Okay, I found 4140, I call this shaft material, but it's right on 3/4, and this is a good press fit. I'm happy with that, so there's nothing wrong with that. Time I put two little, I call them little grub screws or set screws in here, that'll be perfect. And then we'll figure out our height. Well, I think, because right now I made this a little longer. Yeah, it should be, yeah, oh yeah, I made about 1/2 inch longer. Oh well, we'll trim that up. And then I found a boring bar where we'll go back in here and clean some of the material out of here. And also I'll drop an end mill in here and clean some of this out. It's not going to be 100% like what this piston looks like in here, but I'll get quite a bit, so that way the connecting rod won't hit anything. But we'll get it cleaned out pretty good. That'll be the next step, I guess. Okay, I spent about an hour or so on my little hobby mill and was able to chew that out just with using a long end mill, and kept on knocking away at it. So now I just set up, just made just a cheesy little boring bar so I can get in behind the wrist pin, so I can open up the area back there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but open up the back there. It's not going to be 100%, but I'll definitely get some weight taken out of there. So this is just a lot of blind work right now, so I just take my time, and I'll show you guys a clip here and there. It's just it's a lot of time consuming doing this. You don't really want to screw up and you can't see what you're doing. So, and I've got a weak high speed enough. If it hits something too hard, it'll get break. So I forgot to put the camera on, but this is the last final cut here. And I left myself about a thou and a half to polish. And I'm cutting pretty straight, so there might be a few tenths off, but that's not gonna matter. I chewed a lot of the middle out. I'll show you guys that in a bit. And then we'll start marking it out and see where we're going to put our piston rings. I thought I'd show you, this is the last cut. Like I say, this is not the first time I've done piston. Here's a big piston. And then there's another big piston. And then there's another just core of a piston. Like I said, I've done about a dozen of these, so I've never had a problem. Okay, like I was saying that last time, this was the final cut. It's done. I quickly just gave it a little polish. I'm happy with that. And the inside, I've chewed a lot of it out. I'll see. That might be good enough. I don't know. We'll see. But the connection rod fits in there, no problem. I made this about 4.5 thou smaller than the bore, so that way it gives it room for expansion. And the way I've been building this piston, I've been building from the bottom of it up. So now I will take some measurements off the old piston and we'll put some rings in. I don't know if I'm going to put 4 rings in. I might just put 3 rings in. We'll see when I come up for rings. We might have to modify some rings too. I've done that too, and it works just fine. Like I said, I gotta see what I have in for inventory for rings. But I'll go figure that out, and then we'll get back to showing some more things on the piston. Not bad. Okay, after about an hour looking at piston rings, I finally found some rings that are close. These are new. It's just I collect old piston rings. Well, I shouldn't say old. They're old stock piston rings. I've got about over 1,000 of them. Every time I go to an auction, I always try to find whatever piston rings I can find. It's just full of all big rings and stuff. But I was able to find some rings I can make work. My bore size is 3.017, and usually you need ring gap. Every inch is 5/1000 of an inch, so I need 15/1000 of an inch for ring gap for this cylinder. So I need my rings to be at 3.032, and these rings are 3.065, I believe, something like that, something odd. So what I'll do is I'll make a little mandrel up. I gotta do a little more mathematics, and we'll just turn these down. I think it's about 12 thou I'm taking off each side. So I've done this before. For these old engines, it didn't matter. I've even done this for old big rumbly tractors and big engines, and they ran them out in the field, and it's never affected anything in compression or anything like that. So I'm pretty confident in that. So I'll find a piece of steel around here to make a little mandrel up, and we'll go from there. Okay, I just quickly whipped up a manual for this. This must have been for something else, but I just cleaned it up. These are the rings I'm going to use. I've got a bunch of them. So what I need to do is get the inside diameter here, so I can put it onto here, which I've already measured the inside diameter with the inside mic. This one, mic done. Got my measurement. And now I just gotta cut off a little bit off of here, and then I just find I can't find the cap I've had on there. I guess I'll have to make another one, but that's no big deal. Make another cap, and then that way I can squeeze these rings on, and then I can cut them to the size we want for the bore for the Mogul engine. So I'll get this cleaned up, and then I'll set the camera up, and then you guys can see how I do this. And you know, this is just a cheap way I do it. I've made piston rings, but it's a lot of work. You gotta, well, first get your cast. Then you gotta rough them into the size you want. Then you gotta heat treat them, or span them, then heat treat them. Then you gotta make a mandrel for that to get all your correct size. You still gotta split it to make your gap ring, and it's a lot of work involved. I figure for what I'm doing for these little engines, or even bigger engine, I've done this. Works just fine. You're not running over 1,000 horsepower, or I mean 1,000 RPMs. You only run like 500 or 300, 600. I haven't had any problem doing this, so. Okay, after many hours, I finished making the arbor to hold my piston ring to bring, so we can cut it down to final size for the Mogul engine. So what I did was, I made this cap so that way I can squeeze the ring. Yeah. These normal machining stuff. Not very hard, it just takes time. And then here's where I have the piston ring inside here. And then I slide it right there. And then I slide the cap over. This way, might have to do this a couple of times. It's a little hard doing one-handed, but we'll do it. Tighten that guy up. What we'll do is, I need the screwdriver. Tighten the ring, or the piston ring up. Bam. And now, we'll shift this into a better gear. There. Snug that right up. There. And just clamp it off. And there we go. We are holding, I'll keep this out of gear somewhere. Oh, you're trying to get out of gear. There you go. Yeah, and I got roughly my 15th thou gap, what I wanted. And I got this to the size that I wanted to. I can't remember what it was, but I'll put the, and then now I can cut it down to, I have it on a piece of paper somewhere. Oh, right here. Now I can cut it down to 3.032. And I'm only skimming about maybe 10 thou off of each side, so it's not gonna hurt the spring tension of the ring. Like I said, I've done this before and it's never been an issue, so. But I'll just see if I can set the camera up on the tailstock here, and you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, I guess I made a little boo-boo on one of my measurements, but I only gave myself about 5,000 of an inch clearance, which that's fine. We can file that out another 10 thou, not a big deal. And then also you want to look, see if I can do this. You want to look to make sure there's, you don't see no light in between the gap of the piston ring and the cylinder. I have inspected over each one and just about perfect, so that's just another thing to look for. And if you make your gap too tight, that's fine. You can always file it out, so not garbage. So now I'll go find a good file. I don't have my piston ring little grinder set up here. I think that's at my brother's place, but we can do this one by hand, no problem. Alright, I'll get that set up then. Okay, so I made my end gap a little too tight, so I don't have my I'm not too sure what you call it, but it's for gapping end ring, a little grinder, but that's out at my brother's place. So all I'm going to do, and just be very careful, I'm just going to use a file, pinch it, and just work it back and forth and carefully take my time and get it to the gap that I want. I don't know if it's the correct way, but good enough for me. Okay, I'm hoping you guys can see that, but I did my little filing. I'm right through, and that is that's 15 thou. That goes through no problem. So that one's done. So all three of them are done. So now, I guess I can pull that arbor out of the chuck and see about cutting grooves in for the new piston, so we can put the new rings in. Okay, this is what I kind of came up. I'm only going to put 3 rings in this. I'm pretty confident whatever I'm doing here is going to be good enough for what this guy needs. I was able to cobble up my little tool holder here to my cutter. One day I really got to get off my butt. I got a real good tool holder here. I'll adapt that on one day, but this will work for today. Because it ends up the cut's only about, the width is only about 95 thousandths of an inch. So this is the thinnest rings I've ever done. Usually I've always done about 3/16 or a 1/4 inch wide rings. So I'll put the camera up and see what we can do here. Okay, this ends up to be a lot of guesswork because I don't have gauge blocks that are what I need is 94,000. So that sucks. So now it's just a lot of trial and error. All I'm doing is I've got it size to size right now, and then because I want 2,000 clearance, is I'm just putting feeler gauges in and go by that way. So it's just a lot of time consuming. I'm just taking 1 or 2 thou cuts each time, and just take your time and you'll get it right. It's a little quicker if you can use gauge blocks, but oh well, work with what you got. Okay, I finally got the ring gapped all good. All I did was took a lot of time, careful to size fit the ring, and then I got a feeler gauge and put that in between and called that my 2 thou thickness, 2 thou bigger than my ring, so that way I got my gap. And now I have to take off, I'm going to take off 10 thou off of this landing, 5 thou off this landing, and 3 thou off this landing for piston expansion. So that way, when the piston gets hot, it allows it to expand. If you don't, this will swell up and probably start scoring up your cylinder and start having a bunch of trouble. So we'll get that trimmed up, and then I think we can probably flip the piston around and trim it right down to the final size. And then after that, we'll just set it up on the mill and put an oiler somewhere around here for the connecting rod. So. Okay, one of the last things to do on the piston is to put the oiler in. Which you can see in there. So all I did was I just stuck the piston in the vise. I put a rod here so that way I know it's centered this way. And I'll just ink it. I know it's in the center here, or we can measure it. And find a high spot, drill it, and then I'll put a little chamfer in it, and we'll put a piece of copper in it and kind of beat it over. It's just 1/4" copper. I don't even know if we need to do that, but we'll try to keep something close as possible. So okay, I got a couple things ready here, so I'll set it up and then we drill it. I'm not going to bother putting that copper tubing in there. The amount this thing's going to run, it'll be just fine. I'll put a little bit of a hole in there so it'll drip into the back of the connecting rod, and there's a heck of a spot for it to catch oil in there, so that's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. I'll set you up back here. Alright, that'll work. There's nothing wrong with that. I'll just take a bit of emery cloth, clean up the edge around there, and that piston is done. And for weight wise, yeah, I'm going to say this is probably this is a little bit heavier, but for what I'm doing, it's fine. I'm not racing or anything, so it's just an old thing that goes putt, 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 so.